the Harvesting Hope Summit, Living Your Best Life. And I have a very exciting special guest, Kara with Simply Moms. She is an amazing, amazing, talented woman. She focuses on moms and littles and their nutrition. She has a podcast. She has a blog. She is just an amazing woman, and I'm excited to have you on because I know you are going to fill our minds with inspiration and content and just some really great ideas that we can live our best life. So thanks for being on.
Oh, you're so sweet for having me. I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, let's just get right to it. Tell the listeners about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? Like, how did you start doing this?
Well, I'm Kara, and my favorite job right now is I'm a mom. So I have two little kids, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they are like just in the middle of all kinds of fun life stuff right now. And it is a blast. It is hard, but it is a blast. I'm a nutritionist. Like you said, I went through the program to be a nutritionist after I experienced some health issues myself. And I decided like I was using food to kind of help with those issues. And I was like, I got to go figure this all out for myself. And so that was when I went back and did school, and I was working full time during that. And I was a new mom and pumping in a room, just like that whole thing. And then when I finished, I was pretty much done with corporate America. And so I've been doing this blog and podcast ever since, and it's a total blast.
It is such an awesome thing. And I am a mom of 3, and being a mom is the hardest, most rewarding, most make you challenge yourself to your core. If you ever want to figure out what you're made of, become a parent. That's what I've just decided.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, it's so true. Yes.
So I know that this isn't what you've always done. You just said that. And I'm always curious, what did you want to be when you were younger? I mean, what was your passion? What did you like doing? Because I find that people always, when they're following their heart, find their way back to something about their childhood.
That's so funny. I don't know that I really had something I wanted to be as a kid. I'm like a very much so, which I hate. I'm not crazy about this about myself, but I'm a very much like a doer, a success oriented type person. And so I've always been chasing something, but there's really no consistency to what I've been chasing. But I am a super like creative mind. I love communicating, always have. And so I think, even as a young child, I was always drawing or whatever. And then here I am, writing content, taking photos and doing all that, which is
fun. And
fun.
Helping moms with their littles.
Yes. I don't know if helping's the right word, but
inspiring, leading,
trying.
Guiding, yes.
Trying.
Well, and it's such a journey. I think you can definitely relate, and I'm sure that the people watching this probably can relate. It is such a journey, and part of the journey is just one, wanting to change whatever it is, but 2, it's like all the stuff you have to work through to actually make the change happen. Mm-hmm. It's like all that other stuff just to like start eating healthy. I have to like get through this thing up here.
Yeah.
Can you, I know this wasn't one of the questions, but can you touch on that a little bit from a nutrition perspective? Like, what are some of the roadblocks you find that moms have that is maybe an unexpected struggle?
So the biggest roadblock, the 2 biggest we get on the daily that we get is time and money. And I'm with you, like it really, time isn't an issue for me anymore when it comes to eating healthy. It just isn't. Like, we have time to make that happen. And I think it's kind of what you were saying is there were so many other things that we had to like get off of our plate and dig through for, our true priorities to come through. And, I think pretty much almost anybody would say eating healthy is a priority. That people know that they should be eating healthy. They know, but it's like, what's that expression? Like, you make your big decisions in the day-to-day or whatever. It's like in the day-to-day, are you really living your life that these things are a priority or not? And so, yeah, I see what you're saying. It's been a process. I've been eating like this for like almost a decade now. So it's just who we are now. but so quickly, like doing the blog and the podcast, it's just, there's so many people we encounter who are in stage one. And it's like, okay, well, before we start talking about not having time to make dinner, like, are there things on your plate you want off of your plate? Like things you should have said no to? Okay, well, let's work on getting those off so that you have time to do this.
I think that's such an important point for people, even if nutrition and food is not the change that they're looking to make in their life, but recognizing that there sometimes is like preliminary work or the pre-work, like when you sign up for a course, a lot of times people make you do pre-work to see if even you're a good fit. Like
Right.
there's pre-work to any change in life. And I feel like that's sometimes a checkpoint, like, okay, Hope, how much do you really want it? Like, how much do you really want it to, not have stomach problems anymore, or to make sure your
Right.
kids, don't have whatever allergies or whatever it is? Like, how far are you willing to go and get a little uncomfortable to make that happen? What, you shared that you had some health issues. What is a struggle, or what was a struggle? Maybe there was more than one in your life, or a roadblock that you had that kind of made you turn this direction. Do you mind sharing?
Oh, no, not at all. Yeah. So I have basically what was the catalyst for all of this, which I feel like a lot of people need a catalyst for this to happen. But I found out I have it's becoming more common. When I was diagnosed, it was very rare eye disease that expresses itself similar to macular degeneration. So my retina is deteriorating, and essentially I'm going blind. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm very close to being legally blind. So yeah, I got diagnosed with that when I was falling in love with my husband and talking about marriage. And it was just that time of life. Well, one, when you have so much like passion and zeal for life, which was awesome. And then, but also just so much of your future is ahead of you and feels like it's being taken away. And there's no, at the time, which I think in my lifetime there will be, but there's no medication for it or nothing, to do. And so we just kind of were like, there's got to be another option. There has to be something else. And we found a naturopath in our city. And he was like, I'll help you. Like, I'll see what I can do. And my vision got better. And so that was kind of what he actually told us, which this is so silly, but that my husband needed to do it too, because I was doing a yeast elimination diet. And that if he didn't do it, that I could get yeast from kissing him, which I think it was a total lie. I really need to call him and be like, was that a lie? But because of that, my husband did it with me. So we went through this huge lifestyle change together, because he's like, I'm not kissing you for 18 weeks. And so it was as newlyweds, it was a big enough, pull for him to be like, okay, I'll give up beer or whatever it was, And so we did it together, which was really helpful.
That's awesome.
When your partner's
bond.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and yeah, when your partner's on board, it's like, he's not going to ask you to go to a restaurant on a Friday night when you're in the middle of like the throes of like a real detox. He's the same way. Which of course he lost like 4 times as much weight as I did, I'm like, get out of here with that. But yeah, that was kind of what started the whole thing. And then we both loved how we felt so much after, we just felt so much better in every aspect of our life. And so, yeah, we stuck with it.
That's unbelievable. And for so many people, I don't think everyone has to wait for something big to happen, but for a lot of people that have had a big change, it is like a big, catastrophic, like bomb put in your lap, and it's like sink or swim. What are you going to decide to do?
Yeah.
And realizing that we all have that choice, whether the bomb is in our lap or not, is, I think, such a valuable thing for us to remember. So I always follow the philosophy that small little bite-sized changes done consistently over time add up to a whole lot. A permanent change versus like the New Year's resolution, 2 weeks to the gym and then you're back in front of Netflix with popcorn and whatever. What are some small little things that you share with your clients to do, or things that you've done that you have found very successful?
So I think with moms, like the one thing that I talk about a lot is like, just take one meal, like just start with one meal where you're going to make a decision that you're going to cook breakfast every morning, a warm, healthy breakfast for your family. If that's what works for your schedule, or if it's dinner, whatever, whenever it is, but just start with one one meal where you're starting to expose your kids to green vegetables and healthy proteins and really start getting yourself in the habit of like being in the kitchen and cooking something. That is, I think for most people that's like that works the best.
Okay. Okay. Do you find that for a lot of people that it's like, and I know some people, they just jump in and they can do it. I know for a lot of people though, I've worked with lots of people, that's not always the case. It's not for me. So what if making one meal is even like too overwhelming? I mean, have you had people start where it's like, okay, let's start with like putting something green on the plate? Like what are other suggestions? Because I know some people that are like debilitated, overwhelmed, where even that would be too much. Like what else could they do?
So, I mean, sometimes it's something as simple as you've got to give up Coke, you know, like just like what is like just something really simple. Like you need to start it. We need to, a lot of times, like we'll do like swaps, like a healthy, healthy swaps. Like, are you drinking a soda? Okay, let's switch to stevia soda. And then hopefully eventually we can get you off soda altogether, but just kind of like stair stepping for people like that are really, where, yeah, like you said, everybody's different. Some people are like, tear off the Band-Aid, give me a list of rules, I want to follow it, I'm ready to go. And then some people are like, no, like if I can't have cream in my coffee in the morning, I'm gonna lose it. Like I need the gingerbread latte, or I'm gonna go crazy, or whatever. Pumpkin spice, I guess, is probably more common, but just whatever, like easy swaps. I think like sometimes most people have something like, food is more than just putting things into your mouth. It's a ritual for most people. So most people have something in their life that's like really important to them, like their morning cup of coffee. And so it's like, okay, let's start talking about how to just make that healthy to where, you're really spending time thinking about what you're putting in your coffee. You're enjoying that moment. You're, really experiencing what you need to get emotionally out of
like it's
food.
not about the coffee, it's about what the moment makes you feel like, and people understanding that. Well, that's powerful.
Right. And or even for like dinner, I mean, that's a much more complicated one. But a lot of times moms have this like vision of their family sitting down together and eating, and like they just can't get there. They have a picky eater. Their husband works crazy hours. Like even just not so much what are you putting on the table, but like what can we do to make that moment better for you? And then we can start working on what are you actually putting on the table. But for now, let's just figure out how to get your picky eater eating what you guys are eating for dinner, or whatever it may be.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be so helpful for so many people just to hear that too, because I think sometimes we think things, but then we think nobody else is in my position. Like nobody else is struggling with what I'm struggling with. I'm the only mom out there. I'm the only husband out there. I'm the only whatever. And that's just not the case.
Right. No, it's not.
What is your daily routine like? Like, what do you do? And I know, for me, my days are all different, but like on average, like what does a day in your life look like?
It's pretty boring. Oh man. I make a warm breakfast every morning. We start off with like bacon, eggs, sweet potato hash. Like my kids get up and I put on a TV show, and so that I can make a warm breakfast, and we do that every single morning. And on the weekends, we do bigger, like my husband will make pancakes or whatever, but like we really do, the way our day is structured is I have timed it so we do not have to be out the door until we've had like a nice breakfast, which I know everybody does not have that option. But yeah, and then I just hang out with my kids. They're in school some days, they're not in school some days, but mostly just being a mom. I probably get to the gym once a week. I wish it was more. But right now that's just the season we're in. But I still try to go, even if it's just that one time a week, and I think even that is more for my emotional state than my physical state at this point. But
taking care of yourself.
Yeah, trying to give myself, even if it's just an hour a week, give myself that. And then I do dinner every night, and sometimes it's looks like chicken nuggets and broccoli, and sometimes it looks like enchiladas, but it's just different every day. And play with dad and read a book and go to bed, but just I think a simple little life.
But that's the beauty. I think for a lot of Americans, especially, it's like more somehow makes us happier. If I have this bigger life, if I have a more complicated life, if my kids are overscheduled to the hilt, like somehow then I'm a successful parent. And I think
Right.
it's so refreshing to hear from a successful woman and someone that's doing what they're passionate about and has kids, that it's like, my kids are just kind of my priority right now. And
Right.
that's the way it should be. And that's, as a mom, like, that's why I own my own business, because my mom was a stay-at-home mom and I did not want that for my kid.
Right. Right.
And just to hear from another person that it's kind of like giving them permission, like, hey, this is okay to do this. I think is so powerful to hear, because I think we need to hear that more in today's world, that that is a priority. Like, if your kids are picky eaters, is it because you never give them the opportunity to eat the food? You know, sometimes I think about these things, you know, in different contexts, and that's really interesting. So my question for you is, like, what is essential for you for happiness? Like, on a daily scale, or on just in your life, like, what is essential? Like, what is a non-negotiable?
That's funny. It's definitely evolving over my life. I think right now for me, what is essential is relationship. And I don't think that's always been the case, but like, if there's, I know it's essential, because when I don't have it, that's when I fall apart, and me and my husband are tiffing or arguing, the world is not right. Like, it's like, I want to be in a healthy, loving relationship where we're happy. And sometimes that means arguing, but like, let's get on the other side of this, because I'm not really enjoying where we're at. And same with my kids. If my kids are not feeling safe and loved, they let me know, and I don't like that feeling of just not. So for me, I think it's been just the last few years, and trying to get through the, first few years of my kid's life, it's just been community, my parents, my girlfriends, my husband, how we all interact and build each other up. That's really been what's been most important.
Which makes it easier then for you to do whatever it is that you want to do in life. I mean, community building and foundation building is essential. And a lot of people skip that step and then realize they have success or they have whatever, but they have no one to share it with. And no real
you can't get anything done without, like, and that's not why I have them, but like, it's like, nothing makes me happier than to, like, for a mom friend to be in a bind where she can't do something for her side hustle, and for me to be like, drop your kids by, and like, for me to have that bandwidth or capacity to serve somebody else is like, it brings me a lot of joy. And I think the same thing goes, like, I can't be successful in my small business without a husband that's willing to put the kids to bed occasionally so I can do a podcast recording, like, nobody can, that expression, like, you can have it all. It's like, you could have it all, like, maybe on any given day you can't have it all, but maybe in a week you can, but like, and you definitely can't without a team of people. Like,
I agree.
So
that's powerful. I love it. I love it. So I'm curious, because I know that you weren't a nutrition expert previously, and now you kind of work with that. That's your love. So have you had a coach or a guide or a mentor in that process? Because a lot of people feel lost out there, or they feel like, I can never afford that, but yet then they're never living the way they truly feel like they're supposed to. Do you have a mentor or a guide or anything? And what's your experience with that?
So lots of mentors and guides throughout my life. Right now, I don't have one specifically, but when I was going through school for nutrition, definitely did. So I went back, and I felt the same way, like I didn't have the money for it, and it was going to be the wrong choice, and I wasn't going to make money off after I finished and all of that. And it was kind of out of desperation. It was, I miss my kid, and I don't want to work full time anymore. And, we're just going to do it. And if we fail, we fail, but we're going to try and see what happens. And it ended up working out. So I guess a lot of women in my life at the time were just really like, do it. You've got to just try. And I got some really sound advice, like, try living off of just your husband's salary for 3 months before you quit your corporate job. I mean, it was a very strategic, but someone who's looking at your life from the outside in, they can tell you, this is really not a good idea. Like, you should be sure that you have the finances, or you should be sure, whatever. But I think people who are further along in life than us, they can see things in our life so easily that we could miss. And so, yeah, I think I got some really sound advice when decided to do all this.
And as a reminder to people listening, don't ever be afraid to reach out to somebody further along. I mean,
Yep.
that's the whole point, when you reach out to a kind person, you don't do it to someone that's like, it might not have good intent, but you know what I mean when I say that,
Right.
that's the whole point about this world, is to be sharing and caring and assisting and helping. And it always comes back. It always comes
Right.
back to help
Oh
you.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So what if I would say to you, what is the definition of living your best life in this season of your life right now? What does that mean to you?
Oh man. So it's so funny how kids change things so much, because if I'd
Oh,
answered this a few years ago, it would be totally different. Right now, I think really living my best life is, I don't know if this is going to sound right, but being in control of my emotions. So when I am not living my best life right now with two young children is when I am out of control of my emotions, where I'm losing it over things that just don't matter, where for a very small, like day-to-day example, I'm cooking dinner. I have a baby hanging on my leg, screaming, crying, and I'm losing it at the child. And then I'm like, Kara, does it really matter if you get this dinner on the table? Like, can we not just have something out of the pantry? Like, go sit down with her and talk to her and give her attention. And then sure enough, she calms down, she plays, and I finish making dinner. But it's like, if I cannot, living my best life now day to day is like just being present in the moment and being willing to take a second to step back and just let stuff go. Like, it just really doesn't matter if they have a bath. Like, it just really doesn't matter if we're on time. Like, that doesn't even matter anymore. Like, I'm not going to yell at my kid to get them in the car or bribe them with chocolate to get them in the car to be somewhere 5 minutes earlier than I was going to be. Like, that's just silly. It's just not worth it to me. So I know that's not really.
No,
Yeah.
I think that is so powerful, because as a mom, I think about that a lot myself. Like, where am I rushing to?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I own a yoga studio. Okay, if I'm 5 minutes late, I have kids,
Mm-hmm.
and my students know me well enough that they'll wait a little longer, and that's life. Like, that's just
Yeah.
life. Like, just letting go. And what you said really struck me about the whole, child on the leg. We might not all have kids, but what if we just remove ourselves for a moment? Guess what? Doing that for like 2 minutes, you may be able to step back in and
Mm-hmm.
finish whatever you wanted to in the first place with a better attitude. Like, I
Right.
just think that's so powerful for people to hear, especially parents, but really anybody, because so many of us are ingrained to just keep push, 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 push. And sometimes that's not the solution.
Right, right. Well, I ask my husband too all the time, like, what's worst case scenario? Like, what's worst case scenario? Like, in that situation, kid on the leg, worst case scenario is my kid goes to sleep and doesn't feel loved. It's not that they didn't get dinner, like a
Mhm.
home warm, whatever, home cooked meal. It's that they went to bed wondering why mommy was so focused on cooking, And so in that situation, it's like, oh, and that's not a big deal. Like, I can solve that problem. I can make my kid feel loved. And same, with bigger issues, it's like, honey, worst, like when I'm talking to a husband, worst case scenario, let's just say is we lose our house. Okay. That's not really, like, we can solve that problem. That's not that big of a deal. Like, we're resilient individuals. Like, we can
Mhm.
handle that. There's like, let's just diffuse all this pressure that we're putting on ourselves to achieve all these things, even if it's just
Love
getting
that.
dinner on the table, which is a great thing to achieve, but like sometimes it's just not worth it.
I love it. I love it. Do you have an affirmation or a saying or anything that you say to yourself on a daily basis, or that you have on your house, or anything that's powerful for you that you want to share?
Um, so every year I pick a word that is like my word for the year. And it's always really interesting how it plays out. Like 2 years ago, my word was balance. I had a 6-week-old daughter, and on January 2nd, so I picked it on like the 31st of December or whatever, January 2nd, we were in the hospital with her for 11 days. And it's just like the irony of this word, like balance, like, everything was out of balance. We were just focused on her for 11 days, and pretty much the rest of the year just focused on her. So these words are always really interesting, but this, I don't know if I can grab it. my necklace, my husband got me a necklace with my word this year, which is sight. And obviously,
Oh,
you know, I'm, you know, dealing with going blind, but really just where the whole idea for the word was is like, faith is really important to me, and I just wanted to see the Lord and, you know, my Savior in my day-to-day life. And I feel like I was just missing it. It's like I was just missing him when he was showing up for me, or, you know, missing when he was there for me. And so that's my word this year. And my husband got me it on a necklace. And
am I
yeah,
crying? Like, that's so like meaningful.
you're
That's
so
like,
sweet. You're
oh,
so
that's like
sweet.
just, I'm sorry, I'm a very emotional person. But no, that's just like such a great, like, that just like touches my heart. And
Aw.
how powerful. I always feel like those types of things, they pick us at the right
Mhm.
appropriate
Yes.
time. And
Yep.
for anybody that's listening that maybe doesn't have a affirmation or a mantra or a saying that they have, like sometimes it's out there and you just haven't recognized it. Like you
Mhm.
keep saying it to yourself or you keep seeing it, and having that as a focus can really help you when you feel derailed.
Uh-huh. Oh yes. Oh yes. And having I've never done this, like I said, I do it every year, but I've never done a necklace before or anything. But having a physical reminder is so interesting. Like I swear to you, sometimes this necklace will like hit me in the chin, you know, as I'm like standing up and I'm like, okay, 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 okay. I'm like, you know, I remember. I forgot for a second, but I remember. So it's nice to have like a physical, like you were saying, something hanging in your house, or I've put the background of my phone with a verse on it that has this word in it, you know, just kind of like keeping it around you, because yeah, we're inclined to forget things. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, but having it around is nice.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Any last words for listeners on this interview today that you would want to leave them with if you had something last to say to them?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I guess I would just say, as far as like your health goes, and you know, whatever's in your head that health looks like, that you want it to be, from someone who's, you know, been working on my health for 10 years now, you can get there. And this is just a part of the story, whatever it is that you're struggling with right now. You know, I have a good friend who has just been struggling with her health for so long, and I keep telling her, you know, in 10 years you'll look back on this and you'll think it's pretty. Like you'll think that this time was pretty, because you'll be so proud of where you've come from out of it. So I would say, just whatever it is that you're struggling with, be intentional about fighting through it, and coming out on the other side of it, because you will come out on the other side of it. You will get there, and you'll be prouder of more proud of yourself than before you started. So keep fighting, and don't beat yourself up. Give yourself grace, and notice all the little improvements along the way and celebrate them.
Awesome. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for being on and taking time out of your day. For the listeners that have tuned in, I want you to know that no matter how hard it gets, never lose hope. Never lose hope that your best life is right in front of you. You just have to step into it. And hopefully today was one of those steps for you. Thank you so much. Until we see you again, have an amazing day.